just with the free version. So we've all been there in a lecture class. We've been students in a class where a teacher calls and no one answers a question. Maybe you call on a student and they're sweating because they don't know the answer and they're avoiding eye contact because they don't want to answer it. That was kind of me in high school. Or a student answers a question and maybe they're the class clown, or the answer is completely off the wall and all the other students are laughing because their answer was funny. Or maybe you feel like you're talking to blank stares, like that girl. This is where Pear Deck can come into play. Anytime you're presenting new information to students, or you want them to be engaged in the content that you're teaching them.
210.
You're fine. So this is where Pear Deck comes into play. So we've all sat in classes like that before. We've been disengaged, or maybe our students have felt like that in our lecture classes. So with Pear Deck, it's pretty simple. All you do is ask questions throughout your embedded Google Slides, and the students will answer the questions, and the students win by them being engaged in the content, and you win because you get formative feedback right away from students, and you also get them engaged in whatever you're trying to lecture to them. So it's basically just an interactive presentation tool, and I don't know where they came up with the name Pear Deck, but it's kind of random. So there are two options for using Pear Deck. So the first option is to go to peardeck.com, and you can upload your presentations to edit. You can also embed content to PowerPoint slides. So if you like Microsoft PowerPoint more than Google Slides, you can embed it right into PowerPoint as well. There's another feature on there. You can build interactive vocabulary games. I've never used that before, but it might be a good thing like for English when they're learning new vocab. They also upload a lot of blog posts and tips and tricks to using Pear Deck in the classroom. So they keep it pretty up to date. So that's peardeck.com. Another method of use, which this is my preferred method, is to use it directly in Google Slides. So it's pretty easy. You just download it as an add-on, and then you can choose from a variety of question templates. And then it saves it for you automatically. So before I begin all my units, I go through and make all my presentations with Pear Deck, and then it saves it automatically. So when you're ready to use it, I'll show you how to do it. You just click on the Pear Deck add-on, and it pulls up your presentation already ready to go. So you can pre-make your slides. So let's break it down how it works overall, and then we'll start practicing using it. Well, maybe. Sometimes my volume does not like to work on my projector. We'll watch the video later. That's the great thing about technology. It doesn't work when you want it to, right? So I'll try to say everything they say in the video. So if you have your Chromebooks or device, if you want to open up a Google Slides presentation, maybe you already have it created, or at least just open up Google Slides. So when you have Google Slides open, you're going to click Add-on. So right here, click Add-ons. And then scroll down to Get Add-ons. And find Pear Deck. Hopefully it comes right away, so choose that. And then I already have it installed, but yours should say, instead of uninstall, it should say install. So go ahead and click install. And then it should pop up on your toolbar. Does it pop up on everyone's toolbar? Gee, Stacy, is it working for yours?
No, but it said uninstall like I already had it. Can I have it? Not know I have it?
Oh, that's weird. I can look at it. Yeah, choose Pear Deck.
Oh, it was there.
I think so. Okay, go
See,
back.
because when I clicked on it, it said it was already there.
Yeah, click add-on, and then choose Pear Deck for your slide and then open. You must already have it, yeah.
I
So
haven't used it, okay.
you might have to take the long way around. So mine just pops up because I use it all the time. But if it doesn't pop up right there, then you can open it from right here, from your add-ons tab. So once it's open, then a bonus, you can turn any slide into interactive slide. So some of the options include having students enter a text, like if you want them to answer something short answer or a long answer, they can enter a number. They can choose from a multiple choice option, which you create for them. Or you can draw a response. And it says premium only, but I've been able to use the draw response. So I don't know if I had a free version of it or if they changed it. You can interact with a live web page, or you can drag an icon to a specific part of the slide. So you can choose pre-created already activities. So you don't necessarily have to start it from scratch. I use the templates all the time, and then I just kind of have my favorites that I pick and choose from. For the beginning of a lesson, I always like to have a question that asks about their prior knowledge. Or they're supposed to do their video notes, I ask a question about the video notes. So you can ask a question before you even begin your lesson. And then during the lesson, I like to talk about, cover some content, and then have the students summarize in their own words everything they just learned. Or you can, instead of summarize, ask them true or false questions. They have to drag it to the true or false icon. And then at the end of the lesson, I always like to have a Pear Deck slide that retells what they learned. If it's like a English class and you're talking about some contradictory things, you can have them share their feelings on there. In science, we don't really share our feelings a lot, so I don't usually share those slides. But you can, so let's go back, and if you have it downloaded, go ahead and open it, and then you can explore the template. So I always just go right here to our template library, and then they have it kind of sectioned off for you, which is nice. So it has beginning of lesson, during of lesson, or end of lesson. So examples for the beginning of lesson might be as you come in, get settled, follow these instructions. So you could have instructions for students as they come into the classroom. I like this slide, what did you learn from the homework? Or once you drag in this slide, you can change this text to be whatever you want it to say. What did you learn from the video notes? Or how did you feel about the homework? What did you struggle with on the homework? So you can change that text to be anything you want. Here's the drawing slide I was talking about. And the students kind of like the drawing slide because it's something different. So draw or type 2 things you already know about today's topic. So if you're talking about the structure of the atom, they can tell you what they already know about it. So those are some pre-slides. How was the homework assignment? You can add that in there, and then on the student's screen, there's just a blue dot that they drag their answer to. So maybe they're in the middle, or more towards the red, or more towards the green. So those are all beginning of lesson, and then during lesson, I love this one, summarize what you just learned, and I would just portray the slide and then give them about a minute for them to answer summarize what you just learned. Or you can embed true or false statements. There's a lot of during lesson to use. I haven't used these as much. There's a stretch break in there if you forget to give your students a break from lecturing. And then end of lesson, I like this one as well, connect to your life. What does this mean for me? How does this impact how I live? Or in 1 minute, what's the most important thing from today's lesson? How are you feeling? So it's nice because they already have it categorized for you. There's also some deeper questions with critical thinking or social emotional learning as well. I haven't used social emotional learning, but for counselors or even English teachers, that might be a good thing to use. I probably should be using it more, but it's nice because they have everything categorized for you. these slides around. So if I want this after this content, you can click and drag it around, just like a normal Google slide after you have it embedded in there. And one person asked me if I print this out, will it save those slides in there? Yes, it will. So it's just like a normal Google slide. It will print out and save just how you have it embedded in there. So once you're ready to roll, once you have your presentation created, it's pretty easy. As an educator, I up here would click present lesson. And as a student, you'll have them go to joinpd.com. And I always have my students bookmark this so they don't always have to type in joinpd.com. Just have them tab it at the top. And then on your lesson, it will give a specific code for the students to type in. And then the students just enter that code, make sure they log in with their school email, and then their slides change as you click the slide. So they can't go ahead of you, they can't go behind you. So if you have your Chromebook open, go and go to joinpd.com on a new tab, and we'll show you how this works.
Join what?
Joinpd.com. So as a teacher, it's going to have you log in with your school email.
Oh,
That's okay. You can watch off Stacy.
is that our code down here? Is that what I do?
Yeah. So then I always just exit out of this, and then your code will be right behind it. So JDDPI. And they always give weird acronyms for it. I don't know why. Yeah, the kids love that. They're always like, what the heck is that? I don't know. And then down here, we'll show you how many students are connected. So if you know you have 15 in a class, you should see 15 students connected. So if you can see Stacy's screen, now it's pulled up my first slide to my presentation.
It asked me how I was feeling today too.
Yeah, it asks you how you're feeling,
Smiley face,
which is
yeah.
kind of funny because you can walk around, and if a kid answers like frown face, you can be like, okay, maybe keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
Or if they're happy, they'll always choose smiley face. Some people just skip it and don't answer it, which is an option too. But it is kind of a good way to gauge where your students are at.
Junior high usually know, but
Yeah, yeah. So it should say, oh, 2 students connected. Ashley got it.
Sorry.
Cool. No, you're good. When you're ready to start, you just click start class. And then sometimes it's laggy for the students. And if it's laggy, just have them refresh it up here with the refresh page. But your slides on your Chromebook or your computer should change as I click mine. And it doesn't lock the student in though. So they can still open up a new tab. That's the really down part about it. So here's the first question. What did you learn from the homework? So go and answer just something in there. What did you learn? Or how are you feeling? And it will show you how many students have typed. So far 2 out of 2 have been typing. If you have like 5 not typing, you might circle the room and be like, who's on coolmathgames.com or who's not on the presentation. So then I can also see their responses as they're going. And I like to use this as extra credit. So I will pull up and read through the responses, and then if you had a great answer, I'll choose yours and you get extra credit. So, or candy or something like that. If you don't want to show the responses, you don't have to do that. You can just skip to the next slide. So how is the homework assignment? We'll show you that one. So click your blue dot and drag it to how you're feeling or how is the homework assignment. And if I want to see it real time, I can watch them drag their docs. Cool. So those are some fun questions. And then as I'm lecturing, I would talk about all of that. And then was it easy for you, what I just talked about? Was it hard? You can go through and answer those questions. I'll speed it up a little bit. So during the presentation, you saw the devices will follow your presentation, and the students will answer questions as you project them on the board. You can also add questions on the fly. So down here, I don't use this a whole lot, but if I'm lecturing and I think of a question I want to ask the students, I can click on New Question, and I can click New Interactive Question. Maybe I want them to answer a true or false question. I would verbally ask them, is the proton negative? And they would say true or false. So if you want to add questions on the fly, that's an option as well. When you're done, you just click End right here, and you can save it for later if you want to go back later and read all of your students' responses to make sure they're understanding the content. So again, I kind of already covered this, but when should you use it? Beginning of class, ask them what they already know. Middle of class, ask them if they're ready to move on or if they understand without having to raise their hands and feel embarrassed about not knowing something. And in the end of class, students will summarize or retell what they learned that day. So some tips and tricks, you can customize the slide library. Again, you can answer or insert a new question on the fly. And we sometimes have problems with it loading. So if it doesn't load right away, refresh it. Or for you, if the code doesn't come up right away, refresh it, re-log in. It'll save the problems. All right, thanks for coming. Any questions?
Does it tag the name of the student with their response?
It will after you save it. Then you can go back and read, okay, this person answered this question. Yeah, it will later. It doesn't on the fly. So if you're looking at real time, it doesn't, but it will later.
That's why
But
Yeah.
it's nice and anonymous.
But if I wanted to grade them,
Yeah,
I
you
could
could
say,
go,
hey, you answered it with the right answer, you answered it with the wrong answer.
yeah,
Like, you
exactly.
could do this as a quiz as well.
Yeah, you could use that as a quiz for sure. Which is nice because sometimes you have those students who don't take it seriously and they're going to answer something just to get a laugh out of someone. And later you can go back and have a conversation with them and say, hey, I noticed you were the one that answered this question. Like, let's take class seriously or something like that. So it is nice. It does tag the students later.
How does it do that? With their, like, do they just type in their name?
They log in with their school email.
Oh.
Yeah. So when the students pull it up, it will be connected to their Gmails that they have to log in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Have you used this already?
I use it all the time. I love it. Anytime I lecture or present information, I always use it because I hate just talking forever.
And is it
out with
difficult
students.
to enter your information in, like what you want to present? Is that, I mean, I see here that there's already pre-created activities, but if you wanted to do something specific, is it hard to enter?
Like you want to create a new
Yeah.
slide. I don't do that a whole
Okay,
lot. I
okay.
kind of have my favorites and I kind of
That
use
are already
those.
pre-created?
Yeah, that are already
Okay.
pre-created. But I would think it'd be easy to add your own. It might take a while.
So
but-
there's a whole spectrum of pre-created,
Yeah, so let me show you. On Pear Deck, there's, yeah, so
any character?
here there's social emotional
Is it really?
learning. So they categorize like lesson builders, they have beginning, middle, and end. And then learning development, you would like social emotional right here. So what's filling your bucket today and what's draining it? And the kids could answer. Or stress check, how are you feeling right now? And I was telling them in science we don't do a whole lot of social emotional. I should do more of that, but yeah. So there's tons.
Could students use this as well, or?
That's a good question. I think they could create their own if you had them do it as a homework assignment, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But
That would
yeah,
be cool, like if they're presenting to the class and they want feedback,
Yeah.
sharing the.
that'd be really cool.
That'd be-
Yeah, but just like anything, the kids catch on really fast. So when you say, all right, open up Join PD, they're ready to go. They know here comes the code. I type it in and I answer it. So they do it one time and they're good with using it. So
Yeah, I might have missed it, but you don't have to download it, it's just,
it's an add-on.
Okay.
Yeah, so you would just go here to your add-ons and
okay.
then get add-ons.
Okay.
And then usually it pulls up right away because it works
Sure.
directly with Google Slide. And then I would click on that. Yours would say install instead of uninstall. And then you would just install it. And then if you use it a lot, it'll pop up right here. If not, it'll go to add-ons and you can choose it from this list right here. Yeah. All right. Thanks for coming. Sorry it's a little later than
That was really
normal.
good.
You can take these handouts if you want. Instructions to help you out. I will take that.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, no problem.
What's the premium cost, you know?
I don't.
No.
You're not gonna take on like, this is really good stuff.
Okay.
How are they not making money?
Yeah, 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 I don't know.